Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far and welcome to today's video, which is going to be a review of these new liquid blushes from YSL. I've been using them for a couple of days now, so we're going to do swatches, a demo, all of my thoughts, as well as doing a comparison with a couple of other liquid blush formulas that have dropped in recent months from other luxury brands. So if you want to know whether these are for you or whether you'd be better off with one of these other formulas, then keep watching. Okay, so these are the new Make Me Blush liquid blushes from YSL. They are available in 6 shades and they will set you back £33 or $39 for 15 mils of product. As a comparison, the Hourglass liquid blushes are 10.3 mils and the Armani are 12 mils. So these have the most product of the three that we're going to talk about and compare today. As per the brand, this is described as a liquid blush that melts seamlessly onto cheeks for all day, long lasting, healthy flush. Its weightless yet high payoff formula allows you to tailor your look from healthy flush to lifted looking cheeks till maximum colour intensity. Thanks to its non-sticky and non-creasing texture, Make Me Blush is perfect to apply over bare skin or for laying seamlessly on top of your foundation without disturbing the makeup underneath. We'll be testing that out today. The highly pigmented liquid leaves the skin supple and comfortable with a soft touch feeling, and the film forming technology ensures 12-hour all day long wear. So essentially what YSL is claiming is that this is a very adaptable as far as the amount of pigment that you can get very natural or very high colour intensity out of these little blushes, and that they are very long wearing, that they won't disturb your makeup, and that they have a liquid to powder sort of setting down technology that is very blurring, and they claim to have a soft matte finish. And here are the ingredients on the screen for you to check if you have any allergies or dislikes for any ingredients. So let's take a little look at the packaging and swatches of the 2 shades that I picked up. So here is a close-up. Really like this packaging. It's very chic, very elegant, very YSL with a logo there on the lid. It is a twist off. And then we have this triangular shaped doe foot. And here we have shade 37, which is Peachy Nude, and shade 44, which is Nude Lavalier. One thing I did notice whilst swatching these for my Instagram post is that they dry down quickly. Okay, they dry down quickly. I did a little swatch, as I always do, for my Instagram posts, and then I did a sort of blended out swatch to kind of show how it would look applied as blush rather than a sort of very heavy swatch that I typically do. And it was quite hard to actually blend it out because I'd left the dot there for a little while. So heed these warnings. These are not a product that I would recommend sort of doing dots on both cheeks and then, you know, blending one cheek and then blending the other, because I really feel like if you don't work quite quickly with these, they do set and dry down, which is great for how long they wear, but not good if you've left a dot a little while to blend out, because I feel like even if you blend it out immediately, it's going to be difficult to fully blend all of the edges of any dot or stripe or anything that you draw on with it. So I would really recommend applying this maybe back of the hand or fingertips and blending it in immediately, one cheek at a time, to avoid any repercussions or harsh lines, because it does dry down, it does set down, which is great if you want them to wear really well, but it is something just to be aware of and proceed with caution. So on that note, let's dive into the demo. Okay, so I'm going to give these a good old shake. It doesn't say to do that on the packaging or anything, but I do just feel like any kind of liquid product like this, it's probably worth giving a bit of a shake. So I'm just going to swipe straight from the doe foot onto the back of my hand, and then I'm going to take my BK Beauty 109, which is like my go-to for this type of blush, and I'm just going to saturate the brush with the blush nice and evenly, and then I'm going to tap that in. And I can always go back and build up if I want to, but I do feel like these, you want to kind of proceed a little bit with caution, because I don't know if you'll be able to see on my hand where I've sort of taken that blush from, and it really does dry, like set down to something that is quite hard to move and quite hard to blend. So you can always go back and just add a bit more from the doe foot, and they have given you a lot of products, so I'm not sort of as concerned about using a bit more up, using it this way, because I'd rather that than sort of dot it onto the face and then not be able to blend that out. But this way I've found with these definitely is the way to go. I think if you dot it onto the skin, particularly if you do both cheeks, dot, 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 and then blend one first, this one is going to cause you some problems in my opinion. So I don't have anything else on my cheeks today. I've only got foundation on. I don't have any bronzer or highlighter or anything else on my cheeks, so that you can see the finish of the blush is beautifully natural. It does dry down quickly and it doesn't stay tacky at all, and you do end up with, you know, a matte finish and a really nice long wearing blush. So this is the shade 37, which is the peachier of the two that I picked up. Very pretty, and as promised has not picked up my foundation or done anything weird. It blended beautifully and it is very natural. You can absolutely apply this and get a really seamless natural finish that is not too much, that's not too scary. They are beautiful. So let's try 44 on this cheek, and I'm not going to dot it on. I'm going to again just swipe with the doe foot onto the back of my hand. I've cleaned off my brush and I'm using the same technique where I'm going to blend on the back of my hand into the brush, so it's nice and evenly packed onto that brush, and we're not going to get any harsh lines or dots anywhere. So this shade, again, I mean, they both start off very, very naturally and very, very subtly, and then you can just build up until you're happy. And I think that's kind of the way to go with these, because slowly, slowly is the trick. I don't think it's a good idea, because they do you see how much that sort of built up from how I initially applied it? They build quite quickly and they dry down even more quickly. So you do want to be a little light-handed, steady as she goes. Don't get yourself into a position where you'll have some problems. So I feel like it's very easy to just get to the place that you're happy with your blush, you know, build it up exactly to where you want, and then leave it there. Whereas if you go in too heavy-handed to kind of begin with, then is where you'll potentially have problems and end up with, you know, blush on your entire face. So here we have shade 44 Nude Lavalier and 37 Peachy Nude. Again, beautiful finish, seamless, hasn't disturbed my foundation underneath. And now that I've kind of got the technique down, very easy going, very easy to use, very easy to build, and they do wear beautifully. Okay, so I had a few requests for some comparison swatches. The most request was the shade 44 in the YSL in comparison to Scene from Hourglass. So this is Hourglass Scene, and this is the YSL shade 44. The colour is very close. Scene is a hair lighter than 44 from YSL, but I think you can see, obviously these are fresh swatches, but the Hourglass has a much shinier finish. And then we'll take a look at the Armani shade 62. So now we have the Armani 62, Hourglass Scene, and the new YSL 44. They are all fairly similar, I would say, in shade. The finish is what kind of makes the Hourglass stand out, because it has that really beautifully glowy finish. The Armani is quite a natural finish, and then the new YSL has that soft matte finish. And now let's compare shade number 37 in the YSL. By the way, I don't notice any fragrance with the YSL, even sort of sniffing it right up close. I really can't smell fragrance at all, whether either naturally or perfumed. There's really nothing particularly noticeable. Okay, so now we have Hourglass's Moment compared to the YSL shade 37. Again, you'll notice the Hourglass is much glowier, dewier finish than the YSL, and definitely more orange, whereas shade 37 is much more of a sort of peachy nude, and then Moment is much more of an orangey peach. Okay, so first up, my thoughts on these new YSL blushes. They are slightly trickier to get the knack of, especially if you are a liquid blush like phobe like I am. I'm very scared of liquids and creams. You guys know this about me. I do get intimidated by them, and I'm not an expert at using them, but I am practicing and I am getting better. So in comparisons to some of the other liquid blushes that I compared these two today, they just take a little bit of learning how to work with them. But that being said, they are beautiful on the skin and they do wear really, really well. They do set down, they do dry down and quite quickly, which is why I've had to kind of find the way to apply it so that I don't get any sort of marks or splodges left over by applying it using the doe foot directly onto the cheek. But using them the way I did today, I don't have any issues. I think they look beautiful, very natural. The color, the pigmentation is not intimidating, nothing like something like the Rare Beauty blushes, which are terrifying for me to use because they're so pigmented. You can easily get something very natural, but they do also build up beautifully as well and then not pick up the foundation. The finish is a soft matte, so for me, I prefer something a bit glowy from my blushes, especially if I'm going to use a liquid, because that for me is like the whole point of using a liquid, is to get that sort of creamy, glowy finish. So they aren't my favorite. My favorite remains the Hourglass, and the reason being they are a bit easier to use, they don't dry down as quickly, and I do prefer that glowy finish that these have. These two I think are neck and neck. I think I prefer the colors from the YSL. The color offering I think is just perfect for what I look for in the amount of pigmentation. The Armani have that really nice serum-y feel to them. They feel beautiful and they sort of glide on the skin and melt in very naturally, but these have really beautiful shades for me, so I know that I'll keep using them, and the packaging is gorgeous. You also get a lot of product, 15 mils in here, half a fluid ounce versus 12, which again 12 is also a really good amount of a liquid blush. It's going to last you a very long time. The Hourglass seems like a measly amount in comparison at 10.3, but because you need such a small amount and they have that drop effect from these, I feel like you'll probably use less of the Hourglass to get the same amount of payoff, especially when, you know, I have to use the YSL by blending it into the back of my hand to stop any problems. So I don't necessarily think that you will use the Hourglass up a lot quicker than the YSL. So there are pros and there are cons. Like I said, these do wear probably the best out of all of these liquid blushes that I've tried. I wore these on a day out with my children recently and they wore beautifully, very fresh looking all day. The color stayed there perfectly, no different to a powder blush. They do set down beautifully. So that is kind of the major win, I think, for these over a lot of cream and liquid blushes that do tend to not wear as well as powders. But I do think the Hourglass do wear very well as well. So it really depends what you're looking for. If you want something glowy, the Hourglass will be for you. If you want something more matte with a focus on the wear time, then the YSL will be undoubtedly for you. But I mean, we've come a long way, I feel, with liquid blushes, that I can use them and be happy with the effect without many problems. Welcome to 2024. So there you have it. Those are all of my thoughts and comparisons on these new YSL Make Me Blush liquid blushes. Please let me know how you've got along with these, how you like them in comparison to any others that you've tried. What shades did you get? Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. But I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, and I would love to see you in the next one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye 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 bye.